Hello, this is Amy Bowers in the Special Education Office. This tutorial is provided to help you understand how to complete the environmental calculator. The environmental calculator should be completed certainly with every annual review, and at any time an addendum is completed that impacts services, particularly when they are added to the IEP as a service outside the general education setting, or a service is moved from a resource or pull-out to an inclusion service. We always have to make sure that our environments are up to date. Let me talk to you about where to find the environmental calculator. First of all, the calculators are going to be housed in Instructure Canvas. You should have a link on your desktop to that. So you'll click on that, which will take you to Canvas. You'll click on Courses and Groups, and every special education teacher should have been invited to our district ESS site. If you don't have access, contact Amy Bowers or Ben Sumalong, and we can give you that access. Once you get in, if you'll click on Files on the left, this will take you to where all of our district resources are being housed at the time. If there's ever a resource that you need that's not here, contact Amy Bowers, and it's likely it was just overlooked in the upload. Once you get in this folder, click on Environment Calculators, and you'll notice that there is a calculator for each site. We've got a calculator for Dalton High, a calculator for Dalton Middle, a calculator for Morris, and then we have a calculator for preschool. We have one calculator for all of the elementary schools, so all elementary schools would choose this one. We do a different calculator for each level because the start and end times of the day are a little bit different, which impacts the calculations for our environments. So you're going to select the proper calculator for your site, and when you do, you'll bring that up and you'll get it to where you can edit it. I happen to have brought up the Dalton Middle calculator, and you'll notice that we already have the minutes of the day calculated here, provided here, and you're not going to be able to edit that, it's locked. What you're going to need to do for your caseload is complete a calculator for your entire caseload. So you'll put student 1 here, student 2 here, of course you'll use first and last names. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to add the total number of minutes per week removed from the general education classroom. Now the key word here is per week. Okay, so you're going to need to do a little bit of math. So if your student is being pulled out of the general education classroom, is receiving a resource class, then let's say you do that 50 minutes 5 times a week. That's going to be 250 minutes a week. When you input that and you click tab or enter, it's going to give you a calculation here automatically. And what this indicates is that the student is in the general education setting for at least 80% of the school day. Okay? If we increase this number some, you'll notice that the colors change, the percentages changed, which indicates 500 minutes outside the classroom in a 429-minute day, indicates that the student is in the general education class setting for 40 to 79% of the school day. And certainly if we do more than that, you're going to see that where it shows less than 40% of the day is spent in the general education setting. Okay, so this is how to use the environmental calculator. Let me talk you through where to find some of this information. Certainly, you're going to find it from the IEP, and what you're going to be looking at are services, instruction services outside of the general education classroom. So however many services are being provided outside the classroom, you'll add those up. So this is going to be 5 times 200, which is 1,000, plus 5 times 100 is 500. So right here we've got 1,500 minutes outside the general education setting. Now you're also going to need to think about your related services, and as you put in OT, PT for example, your options are inside the general education setting or outside. If the service is outside of the general education setting, and that will show up on your IEP, then you're going to add those minutes to the calculator as well for that student. Okay, so this is where you're going to go to do your calculator information. One thing I want to show you very quickly too is where you can find this information. first of all, it should show up on your caseload. So when you get in IC under special education, you're going to click on caseload, and you'll notice I don't have any right now, but you will see the special education setting right here. It'll say, 80% of the time in general education, or 40 to 79, or less than 40 will show up here for your caseload. Where that comes from in the IEP, and I'll click on a student, is in the Exceptionality Classification section of the IEP. So if you open your student's IEP when you create it, this section of the IEP, you scroll all the way down. This is one of the important parts we need you to always remember. Mark yes if they're eligible, and then the setting. And so this is what we're talking about. If your student is in the general education setting for at least 80% of the day, you're going to click there. Of course, you would have marked yes. And then you're going to scroll all the way back up and save. And then that is the information that impacts our state reporting for environments. And I don't have an active IEP, but it would show up right here as well in your caseload. And so this is a nice checks and balances for you to compare the settings that you have for your caseload against your environmental calculator that you've completed for your caseload too. Okay? Thanks so much. I appreciate your time.